Welcome, everybody, to Broadcast Team Alpha's special programming. We have an incredible forum for you today, an incredible webinar. It's a healing roundtable, and I am just so excited. I could barely stay in my seat. Augie, how about you?
Yeah, this is going to be good because this is the maiden voyage on a different type of program that Nori, basically, this one has put together. And we're going to do more of these things. And this is, yeah, the first roundtable. And this is the healing roundtable. And since there's going to be people listening on YouTube that may not know Nori and I'm going to say just a few things about Nori because she's the host here and I'm running shotgun. For you guys in Europe, that means riding backseat. So anyway, Nori, she is a Reiki master. She's a double certified law of attraction coach, a hypnotherapist, and a nurse for some 23, 4, 5, 6 years, something like that. And that's considerable. And she's also my partner in the mastermind group that we have put together and my co-host on the broadcast team Alpha show. And I think that we want to hear some more from Nori here. So I'm going to hand it right back to her.
Thank you. So, before we start, I just want to take a moment and gather our energies. And since this is a healing forum, not only gather our energies, but take our energies in a unified field up to the quantum realm, up to the central sun, to your angels, to your guides, to God. Connect to your God as you know him or her or it. And with that, we're just going to send some healing love out to the planet as well. So I just invite you to interlace your hands, but leave your index fingers out. And now extend your arms and open your index fingers in a V. Beautiful. Now look at the bottom of that V. If you see the bottom of it, take a really deep breath. Beautiful. Now look at where the first lines of your finger are, right below, like the first maybe half of an inch of your index finger. And when you see those lines, take a deep breath. Beautiful. And now focus your vision in between the two index fingers in the space in between, but notice how even though you're not looking at them, you can still see your fingers. Take a deep breath if you see that. And just let it go. Beautiful. Just drop your hands now. That was my way of getting us to breathe. And I just invite you to settle in and to close your eyes and just choose to go inward. Choosing to go inward is a beautiful, illuminated expression. Settle down. Go to that place. Maybe you notice it in between your forehead in the middle. Maybe your eyes roll up. Whatever it is, that beautiful spot that you always go to when you're connected, let's just go there for a minute. And once you're there, just imagine royal purple. Just imagine the different colors as if it were a purple flame. Maybe you see indigo. Maybe you see different shades of purple. Maybe you see gold. And now, in your mind's eye, imagine, see, or feel golden white light. It is the golden white light of the divine. And just experience that light in the realm where everything happens. And just imagine, see, or feel all of us, even though we don't know each other, in a huge circle of light. And each one of us sends out a filament of light even higher above us. And our filaments of light and love come together in a central point. And when they do, it ignites into shooting stars, raining love, raining peace, raining health, raining well-being throughout the universe, around the planet, and to all its inhabitants. Just take one more unified breath here and come on back. Thank you, everybody. You know, sometimes the planets align in a miraculous way, in a way in which ignited starlight messages are carried out on the waves in the ethers to very specific hearts and souls. The starlight calls them, it beckons them, it compels them to gather for a timely yet very serendipitous, easy for me to say, mission. This is a mission of love. This is a mission of love because healing happens through the highest frequency of love. These gathered hearts and souls that we bring you today, these gifted healers here today, Augie and I could not possibly be more honored to bring them to you and to be in their presence. You know, healing happens on many levels, not just the physical. So today, our roundtable of healers are going to tell you, they're going to share with you who they are, what their magic is, what they do, and how they've come to serve not only you, but all of humanity with their gifts. And they are right on time, especially during this extreme time of change and awakening. So welcome, everybody. So I'm going to introduce everybody, and then I'm going to play a game with you. You're going to have to guess what number, and whoever gets the number closest to the number gets to go first. So I'm just going to go in the order that I see people. We have the amazing Cara Barry. We have the beautiful Linda Dillman, the amazing Suli Yates, Judy Hyman, amazing, beautiful Sherry McQueen, Angie, so beautiful, the beautiful Yanava Keith, Anthony Blanchard, and you are beautiful too. And of course, my co-host Augie Nust. So we're going to tell you a little bit about each person as they guess the number and choose their turn. Okay, I'm not going to look. Okay, pick a number. Cara? 2, okay. Lind? 3. Suli? So I just want to tell you it's 1 to 25. She's got 5. Okay. Jude? 15. Okay. Sherry? 11. Ange? 7. Yanava? 9. All right. Jude, you had 15. The number is 24. So please unmute your mic. I'm going to introduce you first.
Awesome. Thank you.
This is such an honor to introduce all of you. My goodness. So this is my friend, my mentor at times. We share that role with each other. My coach at times, and just such an amazing light on the planet. Judy is an energy practitioner that works with the divine realm. She works with the angelics, the ascended masters, Mother Gaia, dragons, unicorns, fairies, elemental, galactics, and so much more. Judy has a special work. She is a master grid creator. She speaks light language, and I'm going to let Judy please tell us more about you, Jude.
Thanks, Nor.
Absolutely.
I am very honored to be here I am very honored to be a part of this amazing gathering. And just a little bit about me. I am 72 years young around the sun, and I am living a most auspicious life. My healing practices didn't get started seriously until 2014 and 2015. And since then, it has just skyrocketed to the moon and back and out to other universes. I started with Archangel Metatron in 2014, and he gifted me my light language. Now, back then, I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know what to do with it. I just spoke it, and it would just flow and come out whenever. Then there was a time that I was getting heavily activated from the whale mothers, from the galactics. I did a session with Nori, a hypnotherapy session with her once, where I went back to my home planet and had a med bed healing with the galactics. That was absolutely phenomenal. So each and every time I have experienced something new, I've always asked my guides, how am I to use this? What am I to do with this? Because I've gathered this huge toolbox full of spiritual gifts on my behalf that I use for the planet and for humanity. So in 2015, I was gifted retirement, and I began heavily into my planetary work for Mother Earth, for the grids, for the universe, for the galactics. Wherever it was needed, it went out. I have 2 huge grids at home, like, I don't know, 4 feet by 2 feet, one for the planet and one for the United States, because I live in New York. And there are crystals almost on every single part of those 2 maps. And I do planetary healings and collective healings. So if you're listening to this recording or to this live, you've been prayed for over my collective healing grids. So my energy work is as such. I'll start with the grids. There is an amazing thing that happens when I ask my guides to help me create a grid for, let's say, Nori. I've actually created 3 grids for her. And I don't need to know what you need the grid for, because the beloveds know. I just need to know that you're requesting a grid. And they will lead me to a template. It might be sacred geometry. It might be a scarf. It doesn't matter. And they will give me the crystals to put on that grid for you. I don't know the rhyme or reason of the specific crystals or the specific setup for it, but I know that it's going to meet your specific intention. And I know Nori has had kind of, I'll call the wow factor, because when I do the grid, I will seal and bless and consecrate it and do light language with it if you want me to. And then I send you a picture of the grid. And if you are ready, willing, and able to evolve, that grid holds gifts for you. And you can let it wow you and watch the evolution happen in your life. Or you can just say, oh yeah, that's nice. Then you're just not ready for the evolution with that specific problem that you're working with. And that's kind of the same way I am with the energy healings. I do energy healings distance or on Zoom, and you can have a recording, or you don't have to have the recording, or you can get a light language blessing, and I can send you a recording for that. The thing with the light language is that the light language comes from my higher self, which is guided by my guides or the fairies. Now, when the fairies come in, they just want to make you happy. They want to make you like so joyous. It makes you giggle from the inside out. But with the light language blessing, you can listen to it today, and it will give you what you need today to take that next best step. But if you listen to that same light language blessing a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, it will give you what you need on the time that you listen to that. It is what I like to call eternal. It doesn't matter if I created on a new moon, a full moon, on the equinox, or just on a regular Saturday. It doesn't matter, because the beloveds know already when you're going to listen to it, whether it's today, tomorrow, the next day, or on the new moon, or a year from now. And they're going to give you exactly what you need. So I would say that anyone who is looking to evolve and wants to move further on their path, I would be honored to do a session with you, or a grid with you, or a light language blessing for you to assist you to do that.
That's awesome, Judy. And I just have to say about the grids, even if you go, okay, great, Judy did a grid for me, and you don't really tap into it, you're still going to receive the benefit of it if you're open. If you just decide,
Right.
whatever the grid is, I receive, and then you go about your life. But I have to tell you, I have looked at grids long after Judy has taken them down, and I still feel the power and the effect of them. And they're always just what I need at that moment in time. It's a beautiful connection. Judy, thank you so much. Thank you. All right. So Tom, nice to see you. We're picking, you guys are picking numbers 1 to 25, and whoever is closest to the number that I have in my hand goes next. All right. So, Cara. Okay, 5. Lind. 7. Suli. 1. Sherry. 11. Ange. 10. Yanava. 9. Tom, pick a number, my friend.
12, 13.
Okay. Cara got it right on the head, number 5. Good job. Please unmute your mic. And I have the honor of just talking about Cara. I'm so thrilled that Cara joined us. Cara is a channeler and a spiritual messenger. She facilitates others to connect with their inner divinity through her channeling, so that they can move into greater self-love, that they can experience greater self-love and expansion. And she has messages of global ascension, universal life, universal love, and they're channeled from a number of sources, including the Syrians, the dolphins, and a higher level consciousness known as Eli. Oh, Cara, I'm so excited to hear more. Please tell us about your magic and how you are here to help humanity.
Oh, thank you, Nori. Thank you so much for putting this wonderful event together. I feel so blessed and honored to be a part of all of these wonderful souls coming together today. So thank you so much for that. So my name is Cara Barry, and I'm sure you can tell from my accent that I'm Scottish. I live in the beautiful Scottish countryside with my husband and my 2 daughters, my young daughters. And I really propelled myself into the spiritual realm, I suppose, a number of years ago when I had a really huge awakening experience. It was really the catalyst for my own self-healing, and then now doing what I do for a living. I had given birth to my 2 daughters, and I found myself really in a space of complete and utter unfulfillment. And to be honest, it was crushing. It was crushing for me, because I felt that as a woman and as a wife, that having these 2 children would complete me and make me, I suppose, fill that void that I was experiencing and feeling, and it just wasn't the piece of the puzzle that was missing, and so it really plunged me into a huge depression. And even though I loved my children, I just felt that there was a yearning for something more, and really that was when my soul was starting to shake my life up and tried to get my attention. So it got to a point where things were pretty dark. And I suppose the most pivotal moment of my life was when I was literally on my knees screaming to God, Source, Bob, Frank, whatever you want to use, whatever name you want to use, and literally just begging. And I remember I had such almost venom in my words because I was so angry, and whatever pain it was that I was experiencing, I just wanted it to go. I wanted relief. And I kind of gave the universe an ultimatum, and I said, you know, if there's a higher power, then please come to me now and help me, because if not, I'm going to check out. And that was when things really started to change for me. I felt my spiritual gifts come online. I was starting to open up and expand, my light body turning on, my third eye opening up, my crown chakra opening. And I just started to have all of these amazing and wonderful sort of experiences. And I think for all of us here, I'm sure, having a catalyst like that brings you to your awakening. I think once you've kind of journeyed through that and gone through the pain and really stepped into the light, you then can't help but be of service to others. It's just something that has to be done. It's not even a question in your mind. It just becomes this outpouring of love that you have for humanity, that you have for yourself, and you want to share that, and you want to help others tap into that, because you know what it's like to be there in the depths of that deep pain and suffering and hurt that many of us experience and have experienced. So for me, it was really that calling. And I think for me to do this work that I do now is very much to honor myself and honor the universe by sharing this work. And I love doing my channeling. It was something that pulled me right from the very beginning. You know, I could have gone into a number of different avenues with this. I mean, there's so many wonderful modalities out there, and believe me, I dipped my toe into everything, and I encourage everyone to do the same. But for me, there was just something about the messenger, being the channeler, that just pulled me so much. And I absorbed myself in a lot of other channeled material, people like Bashar, Abraham, the Seth material, all of those, icons just piqued my interest. And I just knew from that point on that I was here to be a channeler, and I was here to share messages of essentially love, unity, and self-empowerment for the people around me. I really feel it's an honor to be able to do this work, to be able to assist people in rediscovering the parts of themselves that maybe they had lost or forgotten, like I had done. And so to be able to help them rediscover those aspects, to reconnect with their soul, it's just deeply, deeply fulfilling work. And I love doing what I do. Particularly, I love channeling the dolphins, the dolphin energy. I feel so blessed that I have this amazing connection with them. Certainly something that I never would have expected or planned for myself. But I'm very blessed to have these amazing and fantastic connections, and to be able to just share their wisdom, to share their frequency, and to share their hopes and their love for the world, because ultimately that's what they want to do. They want to bring through these messages of love and literally just reach into people's souls and touch them so deeply, so that they can feel that infinite, that unconditional love that so many of us have just never experienced before. So it's a real honor, and thank you so much for allowing me to introduce myself, Nori.
Oh, Cara, that was beautiful. And I just want to say a couple of things. In addition to being everything that Cara said, and I've had the honor of knowing her when she was in that dark night of the soul, and I've had the opportunity to witness, her coming out, her awakening, her beauty, her expansion. But there's times where you're not quite ready to make the jump to be healed, right? Sometimes we're in so much pain, we can't even get out of our own way to receive the healing. And during those times, Cara is a spiritual hand holder. So she understands how to take you from that point of maybe being in the fetal position on the floor, to, okay, now I can sit here and begin to think about healing. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you, Cara, for all the beautiful things that you said. Beautiful. All right. And I hope you are all enjoying this. I wanted you to hear and feel who each of these healers are, because it's not necessarily the thing that they do that's going to draw you to them, or you're going to find a perfect match with them. It's the feeling about them. So next, all right, I've got the next number. Linda? 3. Okay. 3. Suli? 7. Thank you. Sherry? 5. Ange? 12. Yanava? 9. Tom?
13.
13. Suli? It's an 8. You were the closest with 7. I'm so excited to introduce you. All right, this is so much fun, you guys. So I probably should do a disclaimer. All of the people here, this is my inner sanctum. And each person here has served as being a healer to me at some point in time. Whether it was just a conversation, friend to friend, but it wasn't just friend to friend. It was more. It was deeper. So our relationships are very reciprocal here. So the amazing Suli Yates. I have to wet my whistle for this. Please unmute your microphone. So, Suli helped me when I was suddenly open to channel. I don't ever remember consciously thinking that I wanted to do that. Maybe a long time ago, like 30 years ago I did, but it happened and I didn't know what was going on and I didn't know who else to go to, so I totally went to Suli. Suli was a professional dancer, and she is still an amazing dancer. Suli opened to channel 20 years ago, and now she assists people who want to connect with their higher selves, find alignment with their spiritual guides and source, so that they can live, so that you can live from the heart where your true joy bubbles up. Suli is the founder of an amazing community that I am honored to be part of. It's called Heart Space. We're light weavers. I love that name for who we are, right? Not just light workers, but weavers. We're light weavers, and those awakening can come together in a non-judgmental space, and that is the truth. I mean, you can end up, as a ball of mush on the floor and tell people, I can't take it anymore. And everybody there is just going to love you. No judgment. And a space where we can grow and support each other. Suli is also a Reiki master and a QSCA Law of Attraction life coach, along with many other modalities that she's collected along the way, what she has, beautiful tools in her magic toolbox. Suli, please tell us more about you and your magic.
Oh, thank you, Nori. Thank you so much, Nori and Aggie, for bringing us all together. And what an amazing group of people. The energy is just phenomenal, off the charts. So, yeah, my catalyst was depression as well at the age of 16, due to circumstances in the family, an undercurrent that was building, and I wasn't able to express what was happening. And as often happens with depression, you push it all down rather than express what you're feeling, or maybe you don't even know what you're feeling until eventually everything implodes. So I was deeply depressed at 16. Luckily it was very short, but what happened, I believe now in retrospect, is that I put feelers out immediately as soon as I managed to get out of that place. And it was like the feelers were saying, help, I need to find whatever it is to make sure that I never go back there again. Now, fast forward many years, I came across channeling after attuning to Reiki, becoming a Reiki master. I found channeling, which opened a whole new world to me. When I came to it through Awakening Your Light Body School, I had no idea what it entailed. I had absolutely no idea, but I felt compelled. I felt a compulsion, and it kept showing up for me, as often happens on your healing path, and as often happens when you are open to the possibility of awakening. Things will come within your awareness. Initially it was Reiki everywhere. I saw Reiki, until eventually I had to step forward and say, okay, what's this about? And then channeling, Awakening Your Light Body and channeling, it's been a constant companion since that time. It must be almost 25 years ago now. But what happened with my light buddy, who in fact did this wonderful channeled Star of Unity behind me, is that we dug what the beings of light call dug the garden for years. We did a lot of groundwork, because in those years it was dense, really, really dense. So there was a lot of heavy digging to do. And we did a lot of earthwork together, me and my light buddy, lots and lots and lots of earthwork over the years. And so eventually, when I became pregnant and dancing just became not possible, because I moved out of London into the Suffolk countryside, where I am now in the UK, it was looking at something else that I could do. And so QSCA came up for me, and luckily I was in a position to do that, which then became the foundation and that underpinned the channeling, which then leapt forward as my why I'm here. Basically, I work with ascended masters, angels, galactics, and more recently the guardians of nature came through, because now more than ever I am experiencing, especially since lockdown, the connection with nature is fundamental at the moment for earth healing. And the guardians of nature have come through loud and clear recently. And I love your light language, Judy, and the way that you work with the fairies there. Comes through as a fundamental importance at this time for us all to connect with nature and to work with nature, and not to have it as a commodity, if you will, but to have something, work with the innate wisdom of nature and what nature has to share for us. And it's interesting that we were talking about animals and how, many years ago you'd hear the expression bird brain. Now they are finding out that animals are sentient beings, each and every one of them, and that there is an intelligence there, and there is so much to learn from nature, from trees, from the earth herself, from Mother Earth. And so that's kind of what's coming through mostly. But I do still work with Viwamus, who is one of the Elohim of the 12 divine rays, and we anchor rays in heart space. We anchored the Star of Unity, and we anchor rays for the for the greater good, for the highest and greatest benefit of all. And it's a compulsion, like Cara said, like Judy said. It's a compulsion. It's not a choice even. It's what you have to do, is to assist in the upliftment, the bringing love, unconditional love, working from your heart, opening to working and living from your heart, which I think is where it's at now and is at the utmost importance, along with connecting with nature. You cannot connect with nature unless you are coming from your heart. And so that's what I bring to my clients. I assist them to connect from their heart, to speak from their heart, to choose only love, to witness only for love, to speak only for love, and then therefore to bring love out into the world and to make this world a better place. Yeah.
And you do, and you so do in so many ways, Suli. Thank you, Suli. So much love. All right, guys. I got the number, Linda. 2. Sherry. 11. I almost missed the one. Ange. Do that one more time. I'm sorry.
It was 15.
15. Thank you. Tom.
10.
Yanava. 9. Tom, right on the head. Number 10. Augie, will you please introduce the amazing Tom Paladino?
Yes, absolutely. I would love to. I have actually known of Tom probably a lot longer than he has known of me, and I have found him to be a man of great character and integrity. The thing about Tom is that I think he is, there's not that many people in the world that do what he does. He works with the science of the future, scalar light science, which I think is probably a cousin of radionics. I am very well knowledge. I was a radionic practitioner, and I have a pretty good idea of how that works. You can do some amazing things with it. We took distilled water and treated it radionically, and it turned into vitamin C water without anybody touching it or doing anything to it except the treatment from the machine and our mind. And this is what Tom is doing actually with scalar light science. It's a step up from that because it works in a little wider range than what the radionics is doing. So listen really close, because this is the science of the future that will come. Tom?
Hey, thank you for the invite. A good afternoon to everybody on the panel, and good afternoon to everybody who's watching our presentation. Thank you for the effort, everybody. My name is Tom Paladino. As Augie said, I'm a scalar energy researcher. I work with energy instruments. These are instruments that have been calibrated to control scalar energy, what some people might call 0-point energy. And as mentioned, these instruments can transmute or can control nature. That is, you can take one molecular form and change it into another. And as stated, you could take water and then rearrange those protons, electrons, rearrange those elements into, say, a vitamin or an antioxidant or a mineral. Now, I do that all day long with my scalar energy instruments. So I have instruments, engineered instruments that can control matter. I can change one form into another. This is known as transmutation. And that's beneficial to us because we can actually create micronutrients. And everybody obviously needs that nutritional support. So I am not working with what is known as the electromagnetic spectrum. I'm not working with electricity or magnetism. I'm working with a different spectrum. Theorists such as Tesla and Hieronymus and a few other brilliant minds have worked in this dimension. It's a scalar energy dimension. It's outside of electromagnetic operation. It is a dimension unto itself. And these instruments that we have developed control that dimension. Again, this is not a flow of electrons. This is the if you will, that very quintessence of the universe, scalar energy. Now, furthermore, I've been able to develop these instruments where I, again, have mastery over nature. So I can take these instruments and transmute or break down a virus or a bacterium. We do this all day long. So we've had great success, for instance, in taking the herpes virus and breaking it down into elements such as carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. We do that by negating the covalent bonds, negating the molecular bonds that hold together the herpes virus. So with these instruments, we can assemble what is advantageous, what is health promoting, and we can negate, we can break down what is harmful, a pathogen or a toxin. And I've been doing this for years with these scalar energy instruments, and people now are starting to grasp what this means. The ability to control nature, the ability to control molecular forms. And that has such great potential. And as mentioned, this is the energy of the future. This is the technology of the future. And I want to thank everybody again for this platform to present my research, what I consider to be groundbreaking research that will, someday be embraced as an answer to many of our problems.
Well, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you for those kind words. And I know that there will be a day when this will be accepted within mainstream medical science.
Yeah, that's
coming. A day will come.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Tom, I'm so excited to have you here, and I believe this is still true that you offer people a complimentary healing, right? Yeah.
I'll mention that. Good. Our website is scalarlight.com, SCALAR, scalarlight.com. Visit that website. Now, we work with everybody by way of a photograph. This is the new technology. So you will email us a photograph and you will participate in that 15-day free trial. Anybody in the world can work with us by way of their photograph. Now, what does that mean to you? Well, I'll give you, for instance, we're working with people who are HIV positive around the world. I've been working with an HIV/AIDS clinic in Delhi, India. And after people send us their photograph by email, I work with them energetically on their photograph. And everybody from that HIV/AIDS clinic is reporting that they have no viral load of HIV anymore.
Amazing.
All of that is done by way of scalar energy. And we work with people only by way of the quantum field, by way of their photograph. So consider what I'm saying. Everybody that I've ever worked with, if they had herpes, after I work with their photograph, they no longer have herpes. If at one time they were infected with the HIV virus, after I work with this instrument by way of their photograph, there's no viral load of HIV.
That probably works just as well for other inflictions, does it not?
You're right. This is the control of nature. Scalar energy gives us dominion over nature.
It's awesome.
Excellent.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you so much. And
I
got a message from my producer, from our amazing producer, that I need to pick the pace up a little bit. So I am going to dispense with the numbers, and I'm going to ask Linda to come on, and the amazing Linda Dillman. Oh my goodness, Linda is such a special person in my life. She has helped me out with the Center of Radiant Well-Being, just being like my right hand at times. Linda is a trained counselor. She is an intuitive tarot. She's an oracle card reader. And the thing that I've got to tell you, because I'm not a huge fan of that, of cards, but the thing that I love about Linda is that she makes the concerted intention, and it works, to never lead people. Like whatever you pick for yourself in those cards is what she puts forth. So I love that. She is so fair and she is so truthful. And Linda works with, she guides you to the Akashic Records, and you go have journeys there, and blocks are moved, and wellness and healing and all other kinds of amazing things happen. Linda, tell us about the magic of you, please.
The magic of me. Wow. I almost got emotional about a few minutes ago. Cara, what you were saying was resonating with me 100%. The dark night of the soul, and it's like, where am I going with my life? And you look at the sky and you just scream, what is going on? Why am I here? And basically you're giving the universe an ultimatum. If you don't give me my answers, I'm checking out. I am out. And so I've been there. I've been, like I said, on the edge of the building a few times. And, and it's not that I'm afraid to admit that, because we do need to open up that conversation a little bit more. And, Nori, oh my gosh, she's been there with some tough times with me. And, couple of simple little words. You mean we can't work on this? And it's like, well, yeah, we can. Absolutely, we can. Angie, again, the things that you've taught me about the Akashic Records, I am forever grateful. This group, wow, just absolutely amazing group. I am getting a little emotional, so pardon me. When I was a little kid, I knew that there was something a little bit different about me. And I'm not saying different like I'm better than my siblings. There was 5 of us and 2 adults in a mobile home. And I always found myself trying desperately to escape the noise. Even if we're all sitting in the living room watching the same TV show, it was just like constant energy and noise. It was just coming into me. And I would always say, you know what, I'm just going to go chop some firewood. And I would fill my pockets full of breadcrumbs, and I would go out and I would have conversations with the trees and the birds would come and sit and eat breadcrumbs out of my hand. And the moment I knew that there was something a little different about me was because one of my siblings came around the corner, didn't make any noise, but all of a sudden it was like the birds just disappeared, gone. And I looked and it's like, oh, I'm not sure what just happened there, but let me just, as time progressed, I just kind of kept that in the back of my mind. And so I knew that there was something a little different, and there was reasons why there was messages coming to me, and reasons why I had to go out into the woods and just sit there for hours and just stare at the trees and say, please take me away from this. By the time I was mid-teens, I blocked everything. I just couldn't take it anymore. Back in 2005, let's fast forward to 2005, I had a near-death experience. And it was so traumatic. It wasn't like I wasn't in an accident. It was just a very unusual illness that I had, and no doctors were able to figure it out. So the experience that I had was, I don't know if Azrael came to me and gave me that ultimatum. If you don't pick yourself up off this couch, I'm taking you with me. And it touched me, and I can still feel the physical touch of this on my arm, and the smell and everything. Everything is just so real. And I just said, I'm not going with you. I'm not. And Azrael said, okay, you're not coming with me. So that gave me the ability to stand up for myself and investigate a little further into what did I just witness? It was about a week after this experience, I was able to see orbs just kind of floating in my living room, and shadows, and now it just completely opened me back up to this entire world. And then again, I'm going to fast forward to October of 2016. I was desperate for somebody to teach me what was going on. And I met this woman. I didn't meet her in person. I met her on through a Facebook group, October 2016. And the moment I approached her and said, hey, you want to go astral traveling sometime, I'll be your buddy. And the next day we were on the phone, and we were on the phone sometimes 12, 15 hours in a day. And here's the emotional part. She died 6 months after I met her and became my spirit guide. And for 18 months, every day, I saw her, and she taught me everything about astral traveling. She introduced me to the Akashic records and everything. She took me all over the world. She taught me about remote healing and tried to teach me about healing myself. But I knew her time was coming to incarnate into a new body. And that was, again, another loss for me. And that was in April of 2017 that she passed away. And so 18 months went through, and, you know, now I'm looking for another somebody needs to help me figure out what is all this stuff that I just learned. Anyway, I found myself unable to trust again. And then, of course, Nori and Suli and Angie, you all came along, and it's like, okay, this is what trust is. This is beautiful. And what I learned about the Akashic records is, you have to excuse me, I had to write some notes down because I do get stage fright. We're made up of fractals. And so our energy, our whole inner being is all fractals, and they're countless fractals. And sometimes we need a little bit of help to shed some light on one of those fractals so that that little tiny speck can grow and be what it's meant to be. The way I see it is, and I use a dandelion as an example. So imagine you're out in your front lawn and you see a dandelion, and it just opens up and it's just drinking in the sunlight, and it's just absolutely beautiful dandelion. But then you come along and you see another dandelion that's just open up halfway, and this half all it needs is a little nudge. And if you give it that little nudge, then this half of the flower is not going to die. So if you just kind of give it a little encouragement, it's going to open up and it's going to drink in that sunlight and just thrive and keep drinking in until it finally is ready to share its knowledge. And so it closes up, and then the next day you go out and there's this beautiful globe. A nice cool breeze comes along, and all the seeds of knowledge from that dandelion are just all over the place, spreading its knowledge. And that's kind of where I see the fractals of us. You can't force it. If you force it, then you probably will cause it some damage. Where was I here? Yes, so we cannot force it. What I see with the Akashic records is, well, I'll tell you how I get there. So I'll take somebody in with me, but what I'll do is I'll astral travel to you. I try not to do it in person because our energy kind of gets a little too jumbled up, and I like to do it remotely, and that way we can also have a recording of our journey. But I will astral travel to you, and I will allow you to guide me. I don't want to know what your question is. I don't want to know what your tension is. I don't want to know anything, because that message that you're about to receive is the message that you need, not the message that I'm going to go in and get for you. I'm not going to do that. So I allow you to guide me out the door, outside, and we just walk and walk until we find something that is not familiar to you. And when we see something that's not familiar to you, then I know you've connected to the Akashic realm. If it's a foreboding type of scene, then you know what? I'm just going to encourage you to go in a different direction. If it's something that, you know, if you get stuck, I'm just there for support. I could draw, a door in the trees and say, hey, you know what? Let's go over to this door. Let's go and see what's going on. But I always allow you to guide me, and I get to meet your spirit guides. I get to meet your angels. I get to meet your aliens if you have them. I've met soul groups, and I'm telling you, doing this modality of healing is such an honor because all these spirit guides and all these angels are introducing themselves to me to make it easier on the person that I'm with. And if that person is not ready to see, then they might hear a message and then they'll ask me, let's interpret that while we're here. But while we're in there, what we do is we investigate what is the barrier to that fractal that needs to be opened up. So just imagine, a fern that's trying to, unfurl itself, and it just gets stuck. What is that one tiny little thing that is stopping you from opening up all the way? And once we address it, then we can move on. Then we can heal that thing that has you stuck. I've been stuck many times. Thank you, Nori, for getting me unstuck. I appreciate it so much. Now that I know about the earthly plane, Akashic field, the Akashic records, I'm being really, really pulled. My guides are pulling me to the multi-universe Akashic records. And that is going to be a full-time job for me.
And Lynn, what an amazing job you are doing. I am so honored to witness the expansion of your gifts to arrive at this place where they are today. So amazing, Lynn. Anything else?
No. Nope, that was it.
Okay.
That was it. Just thank you so much. I love this panel so much. Thank you.
Love you, Lynn. Thank you.
Yep.
So I'm just going to keep it moving, and I'm going to the amazing Sherry McQueen. Oh, Sherry is so special to me. Well, you know what? Everybody, I gotta stop saying that because everybody is. I have had the blessing of knowing Sherry and seeing her evolve into her work. And I don't want to give the secret away because she's on a magic path. So, my beautiful friend and colleague, please talk about the magic you are and what you are here to do with humanity.
First off, thank you for inviting me. I am very honored to be with the many beautiful souls here and their amazing gifts and what they do bring to humanity and to love and light in itself. I don't have as many years under my belt, but I have had awakening on top of awakening, and I've had some life events that have put me on a fast track. So I'm living my life as a healer, and as a result of it, I offer potent level 2 Reiki sessions, oracle readings. And Nori, I cannot thank you enough for being my sensei. You have helped me grow in ways that I could never imagine and do things that I never in my life thought I would ever be doing. And it's such an honor to help people that need the help. And I hope and pray that they find whomever they need to get them to where they need to be for their highest good.
Beautiful. Aww. That's so beautiful, Sherry. It's so beautiful. Sherry, her gifts are so potent and so powerful. And I watched her when she first came on the fast track. I was like, wait, who is this? Because, there's a group, we're a group, we're a family, we're a tribe, and something new shows up. You're like, you just kind of observe. And I just noticed there was something different about her energy. And I was like, yeah, she's out there. She's bold. There's something going on here. And I just love watching you on that trajectory, Sherry. So we're gonna have it in the chat later where everybody can find you and each of our panelists. Thank you so much. Thank you. Next is the amazing Angie has effervescent energy that's like champagne bubbles, and she's got such a unique set of gifts that I am just going to open it up to you, Ange. Please tell us about the amazing magic that you are and how you've come to help humanity.
Thank you, Nori. Thank you, everyone. Oh my gosh, listening to you all is just amazing. I'm just blown away at all of your stories and the amazing things that you all do. It's just wow. Yeah, I could do this all day. So about me. Okay, so rewind to when I was about 25, maybe earlier. I think I was 23-ish. I had a really terrible series of health events happening to me, and I went to the regular doctors, did all the normal things, and I just wasn't getting any answers. And so I started turning to people that worked with energy. So I found an acupuncturist. I started doing acupuncture, which eventually led me to, when I was 30, I wanted to get my Reiki certification. So that was the first thing that I did on this amazing awakening journey as far as tools, energy tools. I did my Reiki certification. And what really happened there was everything that I had been feeling throughout my 20s, which was unfulfillment in my career. And then, of course, that terrible health crisis that I had, which was really frustrating. All of that stuff, I feel like I had moved through the health stuff, but that unfulfillment and that feeling of like, I know I'm meant to do something more, it was just pouring out of me, and it was extremely frustrating. However, I just didn't know. I held so many beliefs about what kind of job I had to have and making my family proud and all these things that so many women hold on to, right? And we can play small from this place of, well, this is what I'm supposed to do, right? And I had my beautiful family and my beautiful children, my daughter in my late 20s and my son when I was 30. I always think that maybe he was the catalyst for me to do that Reiki certification, because I found out later I was actually pregnant when I did it. So I always am like, I don't know, Sam, was that you that was encouraging that? I don't know. So anyway, so that really pushed me through my 30s, just that feeling of, I know I'm meant to do more, but I don't know how, and I don't know what it is. And so about 6 years ago, I met a woman who did life purpose hand analysis readings, and she looked at my fingerprints, and I did this whole reading with her, and it just blew my mind, because that was the question I kept asking, like Cara's story and Linda's story of just screaming out. I remember my question would always be, what is my life purpose? What am I? No, I'm here to do something important. I just knew it, right? But I had no idea what it was. And so I luckily had been, right around the time I did the Reiki training, I'd been going to Centers for Spiritual Living, which a lot of us here have also gone to QSCA. It was really similar training to that. So just so everybody knows what it is, it was learning about spiritual laws and applying them, and really having that spiritual foundation in your life and how you can use that to assist you to create a better life. So I was doing that throughout my 30s. And then I met this woman that had done this life purpose. And it was just like, it was the perfect storm, because I was ready and I had been asking and I was manifesting, and I manifested her right into my life to teach me about that. And then I decided to study it. And so I studied that, and I started having clients, and eventually was able to leave that unfulfilling career 4 years ago. So I'm really excited. It's coming up on my 4-year anniversary, you guys. I know, I'm so excited. So I'm celebrating that. And right when I left, the week that I left, I discovered the Akashic records. And it was like some of you are talking about your fast flowing awakening journeys. That was like a huge catalyst for me. And I was just, it was just the perfect storm. I just immediately plugged in, and everything started happening with my guides and my angels and my team and all this stuff. And they started teaching me how to, a lot like Linda's story with her guide, they started teaching me how to heal things by using my Akashic records. And the way they describe it to me sometimes, and similar to like Linda with the fractals, is like a computer that, you know how our computers get like little fragments of things going on, and it's like you defrag it, right? So you just are defragging a computer, and it helps you bring yourself into wholeness and alignment again. So this process has just been amazing for me and has evolved. And I do my process differently because I use an intuitive coaching format with the Akashic records. I am a certified coach. I have 2 different coaching certifications, one with QSCA and one with an intuitive coach that I did my first certification with. So I use a coaching method, and I really help women, especially women like my story, that were feeling unfulfilled in their career, that are really looking for their deep soul calling, and they know there's something there. They just can't put their finger on it. So I help them remove all the other stuff that's not what is really serving them, right? So those unconscious patterns, the stuff that's holding them back, we work in the records to remove all of that so they can really bring in what is their true desire, what is their heart desiring. And so I teach classes, Akashic records trainings, where I help people to read their own records. And then some people, I do have a little section of that where they can learn to read for other people. And some people go on to use it just for themselves. It's an amazing tool. You can use it for yourself, or some people will use it for other people. So I teach it from the intuitive coaching perspective, which is helping people to let them know what are they seeing in their experience, right? Whatever we're seeing in our experience is what's in our energy. So I just allow them to tell me what's coming up for you, what emotionally is coming up, what, anything in your physical body, anything in your relationships, what's coming up. And we just kind of, I call it, it's almost like a soup. Like I just take a piece of paper and I make a bunch of circles, and we just write each thing in a circle, right? No judgment around any of it. It's just, what are you seeing? And then usually by the end of this, I'll intuitively write something in the center. I have no idea what it's going to be. It could say guilt, or I don't even know how it's connected, right? So then we'll open the we'll set an intention about how they want to feel, right? Like, what do you want this to look like? If you could wave a magic wand, what would this look like? And we'll set a beautiful intention for the Akashic records. And then our last part of our intention is we're releasing anything from the records that is not in alignment with this beautiful intention. And then we open the records, and I never, ever know what's going to happen. I don't even like to predict. I never predict what's going to happen, because it's always something amazing that blows my mind. It releases this whole, what appears to be a jumbled mess of stuff. Like, who's been there, right? Where it's like, I'm having all these emotions and these triggers and these thoughts, and I don't know how any of it's related, but it is, right? So I just call that, we just pop that bubble, right? We just pop it, it releases. It's like defragging the computer, and then it brings, you into more wholeness with your true self. So that's kind of my process that I teach. And then also that's the process that I use for my clients. And it's just been such a fun evolution. And I've just met the most amazing people, like Linda doing this. And and all of you are amazing. So it's just been such a fun journey. And so let me see, I wrote down some notes too. I think I basically covered them all. So yeah.
You did a great job, Ange, and I love what you do. It's so unique the way that you flow it out, really. And I've been around long enough now to see the benefits in the people that come to your classes. And you even had a class that was like 9 months, right? I mean, that is a really comprehensive class. So please put your information in the YouTube chat. There's a lot of people in there right now. Thank you, Ange. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. And it's not intentional, but somehow the energies just shook out that my amazing soul brother, I just love him to pieces. He's a spiritual teacher. Keith Annie Blanchard is remarkable in his natural, sincere love and acceptance for all people. And you can feel this when you connect with him. And Keith been for me during times where I've had a dark night, a dark moment of the soul. I don't have too many nights now, but and the beautiful part, he's so intuitive. He'll pick me on Messenger, and I'll go, "You are right on time." Or even more interesting, I'll have a dream of him, and then we connect that way. Keith, please undo your mic and talk to us about how you are here to benefit humanity and the magic that you are. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I am here because of I was an aspiring musician, and we lean on the girlfriends pretty hard is what we do. We live at their house, we eat their food, we ride in their car, and that was all removed. In that time of my life, it was a dark night of the soul for 2 years. From this present vantage point, looking back, it was the most beautiful blessing I could have ever had. It was erroneous perception back then, and now hindsight is 2021. I do this quite often. When I was in that relationship, I identified as Keith Anthony Blanchard. For the longest time recently, identified as Yanava. What is Yanava? There is a fire that lives in all of us with the effulgence of 10,000 suns. The problem happens, the non-healing, the disease, when that clear mind of ours, Ya is the heart. You see my little name here, Yanava. Ya is the heart, it's the fire, it's the passion, it's the God stuff, the power stuff, the will. And its intention to anchor heaven on earth is to move through the clear mind. And disease and illness happens when that clear mind becomes shrouded and clouded with nonsense. Va would be the backbone that gives us the ability to carry forth the divine will through the clear mind as we take action. And I do this all the time. It's so powerful because there's a light with the effulgence of 10,000 suns that lives in all of us. And that which lives inside of us creates worlds and universes. So I had a couple of notes, which is the disposition, one that's in alignment with for healing is I allow, I accept, I perceive, I receive. Healing happens this way, from top to bottom. The spirit is getting response from the matrix of the body or on down to the body. And it's recognizing that there's a major imbalance, and it'll send it through the mind or the mental capacity. When it is not recognized there, it'll begin to solidify in a more denser way into the emotional body. When it is not recognized in this capacity, then it will begin to manifest in the physical body where it can no longer be ignored and or denied. Healing will only happen when the person truly wants to heal beyond the nonsense of a non-clear mind. Suli said earlier, and so did the first person. Forgive me, I'm looking at a couple of notes. Judy, I heard the word nature and natural come up often. Here's a meme I wrote the other day. All that is natural turns within itself, becoming infinitely greater expressions of itself, or supernatural. We call it God. If one wants to see God in its most natural state, the supernatural state, one has to be open to beauty, that which is beautiful. Well, Keith, I don't see so much beauty right now happening in the world. I didn't see it at the time when I was in that relationship either. But I jumped into a fire. And what you know as you is going to have to die, expire, to be consciously aware of that which is not only all around you, it is you. My job as a teacher, when some of my clients come to me, any client comes to me, I'll give them as long as they want, 10, 15 minutes to tell me everything they think, everything you want, everything what you don't want. I hear the words, but I watch, and I'm able to truly hone it. And I am accurate 100% of the time when it comes to being able to read what you are not saying. Someone may not like it, and I'll give you the opportunity by saying, look, how are things working for you right now? Well, they're not. So you need a new model. I am your model. You need to follow this path or someone who can take you out of this box. So if you're coming to me and you're asking me how to swim and we're standing on the cliff, and I say, well, here's your opportunity. 1, 2, 3, and they don't jump. 1, 2, 3, and they don't jump. And I'll ask you if you really want to swim. And they'll say, yes, I will grab you and spiritually pick you up and throw you into the river, because you will figure out how to swim when that current's got you back. So I've learned that there's a conscious stream of life that's always moving. The way that we could get grooving with it, trust me, in the dark night of the soul, whoever you may be, I know what you're feeling and I know what you're dealing with. I'm just like you. I've gotten out of the mire and I got higher because I've thrown myself into a divine fire. These 4 models, I promise you, if you follow them, the game is over. I used to identify with Keith Anthony Blanchard, more so in my spiritual path, Yanava, but I'm none of that nonsense anymore. I am these four models. I am the embodiment of these four models. Passion. When I want something, there's no way it's not going to happen. And if it takes me 10,000 years, I'm going to start beating my feet. Nothing happens without the first step. The first step is 50% of the way. Passion to me is to get in there and put your hands in the car engine, roll up your sleeves and get your fingernails dirty. I am going to fix this car. The other component, number two, is sincerity. I need this car. I'm serious about this. I need this car, which would be the passive. Passion is the active. Passive is, sincerity is the passive. Both of these parts of the same side of a coin, two different sides of the same coin, very integral. Humility. You have to be able to bow down to that which is going to serve you in a greater capacity, because obviously you're the one that's being humbled and put on your dark night of the soul knees right now. The final component would be vulnerability. You have to find a way, and it doesn't have to be forceful, but find a way nonetheless to open yourself up in such a way that this light that lives in all of us begins to move itself out into the world for the reflective world to ever reflect back to said person the truth of themselves, what it is they want, what it is they don't want. So the refinement process begins to happen as it begins to elevate higher and higher and higher. Inward is upward, which is forward, which is toward. The world is noisy. Hold on to your britches. It's going to get loud. You're going to be tested by your own self. I strongly suggest that you invest yourself into you, because the longer you delay this process, any aspect of non-healing will ask you, do you remember me? And lovingly, it wants to give you grace and fill you in your space full of grace. But it's simply about the person's desire, wanting, if you will, to be a superhuman being. That's what I do. I grab people and throw them into the fire.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Oh my goodness. And I have been thrown in the fire. And just to follow up a little bit before we go into the lightning round of questions, there is that moment when you work with Keith that you're there and you're saying what's going on, but you're not, that stuff that you're not saying. There's that moment where you're both in between the words, you're both in between syllables, and my brain and soul goes, he knows exactly what you're not saying, and if it were anybody else, he's so embarrassed, right, or feel guilty, whatever that thing was, the way that I'm perceiving it, as a wrong in me. And I felt so loved and so, just like being in the palm of his hands at that moment, that it was okay, no matter what that thing was that I was judging myself for, that needed to be healed, it was okay. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you, Yanava. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Your stories and your words are so powerful. Let's go into the lightning round and do some questions, and then we'll take some questions from the people in the chat room, and maybe somebody will come on with us to ask a question. So, does healing always work? Anybody want to take that question? Does healing always work? Let me know. Nobody wants to take it?
I'll take that.
Goodness.
I'll answer that.
All right, great, Tom,
Yeah.
please.
Yes, it does, because it's universal. Healing always works. And the level that it works sometimes depends on how we work with God and with healing. But healing is it's an aphorism. It's a truism. It's a fundamental law of the universe. If you look at the universe is healed. The universe is health, and we're part of the universe. So it's simply a matter that we have to once again align ourselves and remove that dis-ease and go back to the order of the universe, God's order. So healing is everywhere. The universe is healed. Nature is healed. And if we experience some disease, that's something that we have to correct, because nature stands corrected. Nature is perpetual correctness.
Tom, that's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Ooh, the healer in me will jump in. I'm going to try and zip it. Let me go to our next question. And if you have any questions in the chat room, please let us know. The next question is, what can a person do to receive a better or more effective healing? Anybody?
They have to want it. And when I say want, I'm not to quote myself. I don't mean from a space of lack. You have to want it, because to the level that you truly want your healing, you can have a serious wound in your arm and you can put some tincture on the Band-Aid and it'll heal very superficially, but it does not remove the depth of the wound or the energy or the injury. Many people don't know how to accept healing. They're scared of healing. They've never had such beauty and grace in their life. What do you do with that? In fact, I don't even believe it's possible. Only Jesus and other masters and other dogmatic ways of being is only this allowed, received, appreciated in my life to ever fall its beautiful deliciousness on me. But you have to want it. Healing comes from deep within. I'm not saying spontaneous healing cannot happen. In fact, the deeper you go within, the more spontaneous the healing actually begins to manifest itself. So you just simply have to die. You have to throw everything that you think has worked or not working into this fire. It's to become purified. And then the healing naturally just steps forward on many levels.
I love that. Thanks, Yanava. And the beautiful thing about healing and what Keith said, which is totally true, is that you can take it at your pace. If you're on the floor in the fetal position and you know that you're ready for a quantum healing, well, then that's what you're going to get. But if you're just, coming out of a lot of mainstream stuff and opening up to your soul and your spirituality, and you're just, I just want to dip my toe in the pool this time, that's what you can have. And then you come back and you're like, you know what? I want to jump into the river. Then you do that. So I love what we're opening up to here. Here's a fun question. What is your favorite part of being a healer?
The opportunity to love people.
Aw, I love that. Yes. Lynn, I saw you turn your mic off.
I was going to say, there's people that are not, they think that they're not ready for healing, and so they just won't acknowledge it. My favorite part of healing is when somebody is speechless and they say, wow, what just happened there? That was amazing. And it's something that they never, ever in their entire life expected that they deserved or that they needed. And it's just that speechless, wow, what just happened? That was amazing. That's what I love.
Right?
Yeah. Yep. That's what I love about healing.
I love that, Lynn. I love that too. All right. When did you first know that you were a healer? We'll have to keep it brief because Mac is like, when did you first discover? I mean, for me, I was like 5 years old. How about you guys? Jude, you turned your mic on.
No, I was an adult. I didn't know early on. But I was going to answer and jump in for the previous question, what you liked about healing. Yeah. I love it when you see in your client's eyes that they have experienced the absolute effort that you have put forth and they have embraced it and just blossomed with it. I absolutely love that.
I love that. Aw, I love that. And sometimes tears precede that, right? Sometimes there's no words, right? It's just tears, and then they can finally begin to articulate. Everybody's nodding their head. I love it. You guys are all so real. Amazing. Can a person heal themselves?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anybody?
I think that's the way of it ultimately anyway.
Yes. Cara, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, I would say so, Nori. Yes, I mean, of course, you know, for me, it's been incremental steps along the way, but I think, you know, I can sit here today, you know, however many years later, and I would have never have thought that I could be who I am today from being in the depths of darkness, the state of just wanting to claw my brain out because I was so suffering with negativity and fear and completely ravished by self-hatred, and to turn all of that around and to sit here today and to be embracing this life and to be so full of purpose and so full of gratitude for all of the gifts that have been bestowed on me. There's my cat. You know, yeah, cat energy. You know, I feel like I'm maybe not a perfect example, but I feel like I am an example of that process and that ability of one to heal themselves. Yes. So
Yes, so I love that. And I dare say, not just Cara, but I think each of us initiated our own healing in the beginning, in the very beginning. I think that's true. So the answer to that question is absolutely people can heal themselves. Let me ask it this way. What do you guys think about having people that you're working with and they're co-creating with Western medicine at the same time? What do you guys think of that?
What do you mean by co-creating with Western medicine?
Well, you know, they're going to their doctor or they're
Oh,
still taking some traditional medicine.
okay.
So
I see.
they're not just solely you, but they're doing both ends.
Well, I'll speak for myself. I'm fine by that. And for this express purpose, if any modality is safe and effective, I encourage people to try that. Now, let's face it, there are some surgeries that are safe and effective, and by all means, try it. There are some nutritional programs that are safe and effective. By all means, incorporate that. So I think that's a general rule of thumb that I follow. If anything, any health regimen is safe and effective, then I would encourage people to follow that.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you. And as a nerd, right, as somebody who was in the closet for 26 years, right, I'm a healer in the closet, in the ICUs, in the burn trauma unit, in the ERs, hiding, right, not letting people know what I'm doing behind the curtain. There's a trajectory that some people have to come along on, and I can tell you one, and he never leaves my memory. He was 33 years old. He was an absolutely vile human being. He was mean, he was disrespectful. He was in with his like third heart attack, and he was obese, and you know, there's just so much to him that he was creating in his life, and he was like 99.9% mortality. And I whispered in his ear, you know, you have the opportunity to change this. He wasn't even conscious, right, as we know it. I said, you have the opportunity to change this. You have the opportunity to use your thoughts, use your prayers, and begin to shift this. And I have to tell you, it wasn't an easy journey for him, and it was a very long time, you know, and it was 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But he ended up healing himself, getting heart valves, getting his body repaired, and going on to be the most amazing human being. So he needed that ICU experience, right? But ultimately, he went into the natural realm and healed himself into this beautiful quantum realm that we get to tap into, the connection with God, the connection with all and everything that is right there, right? It's just like, oh, is that a cherry on the tree? That's for me, thank you, right? It's that easy. So any other comments, guys? Or Mac, do we have any questions in the chat room that you can direct me to? This has been such a powerful day.
I would like to offer something to someone in the chat room. It's popping out like nobody's beeswax. I'm assuming it's okay. I'll leave the name out for whatever reasons. Someone asked a question or makes a statement. There are some days that I can't even walk straight. Those days, I take pain relievers. Here's a healing for you, because I love you. Ask yourself, why is it so painful for me to take steps moving forward? What is this pain that is so hard for you to move forward? Reflect on your past. Don't dwell on it. Simply call it up, look at it, integrate it, thank it, be done. Your pain, look, breaking your pinky toe on a piece of furniture is painful. Posting on Facebook is self-induced suffering. There's a huge difference. In fact, they're not even on the same planet together. Just maybe in meditation, ask yourself, reflect on your life. Why is it so difficult or painful for me to seem to want to move forward?
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And it can begin with that question. Absolutely. Letty said that she's having headaches every day for the past 2 to 3 weeks. Haven't taken anything, been working with healing energy. That's wonderful. And, in our realm, we are very aware that there are awakening symptoms, that there are ascension symptoms, that there is a change going on our energetic field and our light body, and some of those symptoms show up as headaches every day for a while, or body aches, or feeling like the cement truck just came, filled you with cement, and I cannot possibly move today. And the thing that I say to that is, whatever you're experiencing, honor it that day, right? And like Keith said, like everybody said, ask the question, body, what do you need today? Body, how can I love you today? And then take that step, whatever it tells you. All right, one last question, guys. And this was from the copy that Mac had written for us. And so much gratitude and love to Mac. He's our virtual assistant, production guru. Mac said, healing comes when we walk away from a darkness and move toward a brighter light. What does this mean to you in your practices?
I could kind of speak to that a little bit, Nori.
Yes.
I feel like I could almost take it 2 ways, because I feel like there's almost like a microcosm and a macrocosm. Because I think in the macro, shifting away from darkness and into light, that fits and that works, and I love that process, and that's what I want to embody. But I think in the micro, we have to kind of turn into the darkness. It's more about observing the darkness, flooding our awareness to the darkness. What are the parts of myself that I've not been in love with? What are the parts of myself that I've denied? And so I feel like it's sort of 2 ways. It is shifting from dark to light, but then in those incremental steps, we have to turn into the shadow self. We have to allow those parts of us, I think, so that we can move into the higher and higher states of being. Does that make sense?
100%. That's awesome. Really good. Thank you so much. We have a guest that Mac is going to bring on with us that's going to question.
I didn't have a question. I don't know why my picture just came up. I just got onto your Zoom room. I don't know if we're only supposed to go into the Zoom room if we have a question. But one thing I would like to ask, I was actually typing this in the chat, is if everyone on the panel could put their contact information in the chat. I'm not on the Zoom. I'm not on the YouTube anymore because it automatically put me in Zoom. So if you could put all your contact information in the Zoom room, that would be really helpful. I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, April. Thanks for coming in to see us. It was meant to be.
It's great to be here. I've got so much out of it. I really want to get in touch with some of the people on this panel for various different things. I just had a soul reading with Trisha McCannon, and it brought up a lot of questions. And I think that maybe there's people on this panel that can help me take that soul reading to the next level.
There's no doubt in my mind. Thank you so much, April. That's
Thank you for
amazing.
putting this together.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody. Anything else you want to say or share, or before we go? You feel free to unmute your mic as long as you don't have anything going on in the background. Yeah.
Nori, hey, this is Judy. I just want to say to you and Augie, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. This is such a blessing. And to my fellow panelists, I love you all. It is so enlightening and encouraging to see all of us doing our own unique blessed gift. We each have a blessed gift, and we just have to figure out what it is and how to use it and how to make this world a better place. So I thank you. Mwah.
Thank you, Judy. Yay. Awesome. All right, Mac, are we good to close? Augie? Want to undo your, you're muted, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I get for not unmuting myself.
That's okay. So I'm going to, before you go, I just want to say something, Aug. Wait a minute. So, Augie and I have been partners for like 3 years now. And we have had a massive healing in our relationship as we have journeyed together, and it's very interesting to me. We've come together and we've grown apart, and we've come together and grown apart, and in our last incarnation that transpired, I discovered all new things about Augie, and I discovered the healer that he actually is in and of himself, that he doesn't necessarily talk about so much. So I'm letting that cat out of the bag today, Og. Thanks for being here with us.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I think for everybody out there listening to us now, as well as those of us that are on this panel, I think that knowing what we want is an essential part of growing into what we want to be. There are two schools of thoughts on this, and then it says, don't worry about a thing, the universe will provide. Yes, it does. Absolutely, it provides what we need. When we go that route, it may not necessarily provide what we want. That is my opinion only now, and I'm sticking to it. Now, if we know what we want, place that in the future and visit it often, we're going up to creating a timeline to that thing in the future. That could be a health issue, could be an abundance issue, and that leans on what Nori has been talking about, law of attraction. We got to know what we want in order for the universe to provide what we want, not necessarily only what we need. I'm open to criticism or anything for what I said here, because this is my opinion of what I have seen in my own life to create some phenomenal things. So have at me.
Oh, no. Who can dispute that? And so I just want to invite everybody that Augie and I have some platforms that you can come join us on. We have the Mastermind Connection that meets every Sunday, usually this time frame, and we come together with an amazing people, 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock Eastern time, and we we decide a like-minded intention. Most of our intentions are very benevolent. They're for the universe, they're for what's going on, weather patterns, fires, illnesses, viruses, things, peace during the election. We mastermind together for really beautiful and intentional purposes. If you would ever like to come join us, it's a phenomenal Sunday. It's just amazing. And you can send an email to the THE mastermind, all one word, connection at gmail.com. And we also have a Law of Attraction in Action 4-week class coming up. It's going to be four Wednesday evenings, 8 p.m. in September, and it's going to be so much fun. It is September already. It starts next week. So much fun. It's a ridiculously low price. It's $27 for people who are not Patreon members, $15 for people who are, or if they're the Green Ray, they're automatically in. And it's going to be so much fun. It's going to be classic Law of Attraction, Abraham Hicks, using the processes on our feet to create the things that we want to create in our life. So come join us. It's going to be everywhere. The links will be everywhere. Broadcast Team Alpha, Mastermind Connection, my pages, right? You'll find it. And if you can't find it, just send me an email to norilovemail@gmail.com. I've used up my words for the day. So thank you, Eddie. Thank you, Mac. We're going to close.
Guys.
I have so much love for all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the
everyone
invite.
who's been
Guys,
here.
take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.